All right, so I had tweeted out about this yesterday. So right now I'm looking at the most recent update from John Byrne Murdoch. So he posted this about 7 o'clock. Yeah, maybe like he posted this like about 6 o'clock Thursday, 26th. And so one of the things that I just kind of wanted to highlight, kind of as we look at this graph and what this graph can tell, and kind of information that we can get from this. So certainly, kind of it's easy and it allows us to kind of compare the different trajectories of number of coronavirus cases amongst kind of all these different countries. And through the use of color, he kind of calls out, especially South Korea, Japan, Singapore, and Hong Kong as having. Uh, Notice South Korea had a pretty steep hike early, and then it's leveled off. Japan, Singapore, Hong Kong have been much slower. But big thing of note with this is that this is a semi-log plot. So semi-log, we're talking down here on the x-axis, kind of normal linear 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on. Up here on the y-axis, you'll notice it's basically 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. And so you see that it's this different looking scale here on the y-axis, and it's a logarithmic scale. And we use logarithmic scales when kind of that it lets us see some of the nuances and some of the differences when we have something that shows exponential type growth, which is what we see with the spread of a virus. And so depending on and so exponential, kind of the simplest version is, I'll pull this app up here, is where you've got some y, in this case function of x is e to some number times the exponent x. And then this on here is just a -1, so that it over here you'll see it starts at the axis. But depending on what what number we have for this exponent, that will change the slope of this curve. And so, so you see, like I raise it up to 1, the lower it is, the broader that curve, the higher I raise that, you see it's much, much steeper. All these just go through 0 because I put that -1. So whatever that exponent is, it's whatever we have on the y-axis. So in this case, if it's like number of cases, because we're raising it to a power, we're using this exponent. That's why it takes off so fast. And so when we plot things on a log scale, it lets us see some of that a little bit better. So the next thing I want to show real quick is, so I have what I've plotted here, these days. And so right here, I should have the data of US, Spain, and Italy. And so let me kind of just highlight this. I'm going to insert a chart. And so right here, what you see, this is just kind of the generic setup for a chart. And you can see how these curves, so Italy is much broader, but especially Spain and the US really starting to take off of late. And then what we can do is we come over here to customize under chart editor. We can come down to vertical axis. You scroll down and you see we've got this button here where you can click on log scale. So we click on that, and now we've got a curve that lets us kind of see some of that change a little bit better than in here. We look at it this way and we're like, oh yeah, it's taking off really fast. And this kind of lets us see some of that change a little bit better. So that's kind of some part of the Y. And so again, you see like each block, we're going 10, 100,000, 10,000. So increasing by a factor, in this case, a factor of 10 each time it goes up. So that is kind of just talking logarithmic scale or logarithmic view, log scale, and how we can kind of going back and forth here, how you can see clicking back and forth, how it kind of changes what some of that data looks like.